Welcome to another project. In this project, we are going to create a random image feed. As you can see from the final version of the project, we have 6 images, and when we refresh the page, we see new random images each time. Also, we have a button at the bottom of the page, so when we click on this button, we can see new images adding to the website. We are going to use a website called Lorem Pixel to get the images. So see you in the next section for the HTML part of our project. Alright, let's start our project. First, we open the Visual Studio Code. Here we close the Get Started tab, and in the File menu, we click on the folder, we click on the Open folder. I would like to create the project in my desktop, but you can create it anywhere you like in your computer. So we click on Desktop, and here we click on the New Folder button to create a new folder. We name the file, for example, Random Photos, which is the name of our project. And here we select the folder. We close the Get Started tab again, and here on the left side, in the Explorer section, we create an HTML file. So we right click and we click on New File. We name the file index.html and we press Enter. Now on the right side, we have our index.html file, which is completely empty, but we can use an exclamation mark to have an HTML5 boilerplate. So we write an exclamation mark and we click on the first auto suggestion. We can use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see the code clearly. Here we have our HTML5 boilerplate, including a doc type, which tells the browser what version of HTML we are using. For HTML5, we just need to have HTML here. Then we have the HTML tag, which is the top level element in the HTML file. The lang attribute here sets the language of the page, and in our case, the language is English. Then we have the head tag and also the body tag. In the head tag, we have 3 meta tags and also a title tag. The charset attribute defines the HTML character encoding, and UTF-8 is recommended by HTML5 because it contains nearly all the characters or symbols. Then we have this meta tag, which tells the Internet Explorer browser to use the most recent rendering engine, which is Edge. This viewport meta tag tells the browser on how to resize the page, and the first part actually tells sets the page's width to the device's screen. For example, the mobile screen is smaller than a computer screen, so the width will be smaller as well. And then we have the initial zoom level of the page, which is in our case 100%. Then we have the title tag, which sets the title of the page. In order to see the title and the browser inside the Visual Studio Code, we can use the Live Preview extension. So we right click and we click on Live Preview and Show Preview. Here on the right side, we have our browser, which is completely empty, but with the title document. Let's change the title. Let's first actually close this Explorer section by dragging this line to the left, and we change the title to Random Photos. So we can see the random photos in the title section in the bar. Let's decrease the size of the browser. And in the body section, let's add a container which covers all our image in our page. We just say container, or just let's make it more specific by saying just image container, image dash container. And here we click on the auto suggestion to have a div with a class of image container. For the images, I would like to use a website called Lorem Pixel to get some random images. So we go to our desktop and we click on the Google Chrome. Here we search for Lorem Pixel and we press Enter. Yeah, I missed the S. So in the first result, we have a website called pixel.photos, and the name of the website is Lorem Pixel. So we click on this website. If you read the tutorial, it's very easy to use. you can have this link to have a photo with the size of 200 to 300. If you copy this and we go to a new tab and we paste this link and we press enter, we get a photo. And if you paste it again and we get another photo. If you want the photo to be square and only be, for example, 200 to 200, we can use this link. So we copy this and test it. We get a square image each time we paste this one on the browser. All right. Sometimes the browser catch the photo and show you the repetitive image. In order to avoid this, we can add some query at the end and just say random 1, random 2, and so on. So we always get as the same as a different image. So we need these kind of tags in our HTML. So we copy these 2 tags and we go back to our Visual Studio Code. So we paste the link and we can see 2 different images now here. But we don't want the image to be this size. We just want it to be 300 to 300. So we delete the 200 section. As you can see, now we have 2 images. Let's add another one. So we copy this using Alt-Shift arrow down. We change this 2 to 3. So we get 3 images. And after this container, we add a button. We add a button with a class of btn. And inside the button, we want to just write down load more. So here we choose the auto suggestion. So we get a button with a class of btn, which is saying load more at the end. We are going to use this button to load more images from the website using JavaScript. And also in the next section, we're going to use CSS to style our project. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the HTML part of our project. In this section, we're going to style our project using CSS. First, we need to create a CSS file. So we open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, and on the left side, we right-click and we click on New File. We name the file style.css and we press Enter. Before styling our project using CSS, we need to add a link to the CSS file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html file and just under the title tag, we add a link tag. We just write link and we click on the third auto suggestion, the one with the CSS. Now we have a link tag with the relationship between the HTML file and the external style sheet. The href attribute defines the destination of the link, and as both files, I mean the index.html and style.css, are located at the same directory, we just need to write style.css for the URL. Now we can use CSS in our project. So we save this file and we close this Explorer section by dragging this line to the left. So we open this one a little bit and we go to the style.css section. First, we start with the body section. So we write body. We open a set of curly braces. First, we remove this margin, the default margin, using margin 0. Then we can use display flex to bring the items to the center. Horizontally, we just write display flex. And as you can see, the button came to the right side. We can use flex direction column to bring back the item to the end of the screen. Then we can use align item center to bring the items to the center horizontally. As you can see, the button came in the middle, but still we have the images on the left side. We can decrease the size of the image to fix this problem, or just have this div with the class of image container. So we just say image container, and we can use text align center to bring all the images in the center. As you can see, when we increase the size of the browser, we have 2 images, and when we decrease, we have 1 image. So it's already responsive, and we just need to target the image and just make it more beautiful. Let's change the background color of the body using background color. We just choose the color. I would like to choose a color called brown. Oh, yeah, brown color looks fine. Then we change the image. Just say image container img. We target this img tag inside the class with the img container. So we can add a margin. Just say 20 pixels. Maybe it's too much. Just 10 pixels is fine. Yeah. Just change the border radius. We add a border. We round the border of the images using border radius. We add a 10 pixels border. Let's add some box shadow. And we add some shadow effect around the elements. So if the first value of the box shadow element, box shadow property is the position of the horizontal shadow, we set it to be 0. And then we have the vertical position of the vertical shadow. We set it to be 4 pixels. You can see the dark here. We set 8 pixels for the blur. And the last value is the color of the box shadow. We use RGBA function, and we set 0, 0, and 0 for the red, green, and blue values, which gives us the black color. And then we have alpha. We set it to be 0.3, which is 30% transparency. Let's add some background color. We just say light gray. We cannot see the background color because the width and the height of the image is not defined yet. So we just say width to be 300 pixels and height to be 300 pixels as well. So this background color helps when the image is not loaded. It's kind of preloader for the image as well. Especially when we have too many images, we can see the background color. All right. Let's style the button here. So we target the class of btn. So we just say .btn. We just say background color to be, for example, slate blue. We remove the border none. And then we add some padding. We just say 10 pixels for the top and bottom padding and 20 pixels for the left and right. Let's add some margin. So we just say 20 pixels margin. You see the button here. Let's change the color of the text to be white. Then let's add some border. We round the border of the button using border radius, just 5 pixels. And we can add some box shadow as well. So we just say box shadow, 0%, 0 for the horizontal shadow, position of the horizontal shadow, 4 pixels for the position of the vertical shadow, 8 pixels for the blur, and we use the black color and 30% transparency. All right. Let's change the cursor to be pointer. So when we hover over the button, we can see a pointing hand. Then also let's use the hover pseudo class. So we change the opacity of the button when we hover over it. So we just say 90% opacity. So you see a little bit change. All right, that's it for the CSS part of our project. In the next section, we are going to make this images to come dynamically. And when we click on the button, we can see more images loading inside our website. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished styling our project using CSS. In this section, we're going to add functionality to our project using JavaScript. We're going to add some add event listener to this button, when we click on this button, we can see new images coming from the Lorem Pixel website, and we can keep loading images on and on. So first we need to create a JavaScript file. So we open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, and on the left side, we right click and we click on new file. We name the file index.js and we press enter. Before using JavaScript in our project, we need to add a link to the JavaScript file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html, and just at the end of the body tag, we add a script tag. We just add sc and we click on the second auto suggestion. src defines the destination of the link. So as we have index.html and the index.js in the same directory, we just need to write index.js for the URL. Now we can use JavaScript in our project. The first things we need to do is to bring this div with the class of image container and return it inside the JavaScript inside a constant, so we can add new images using a create element method. Because we have class here, we need to return the element using the query selector method. So we go to the index.js, we create a constant and we call it image container element. And we just write document.query selector to return the element. And the CSS selector is .image container, as the same as here. We can use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see all the code. And also we can close this Explorer section so we can see the code clearly and we have more space for our browser. The other things we need to bring is this button, so we can add some event listener to the button. The button has a class of btn, so it's the same as above. We just create a constant and we just say btn element, and we add the document.query selector, and inside a set of parentheses we add .btn for the class CSS selector. All right, so we add the event listener to this button first. We just say btn element dot add event listener. The event we want to add is click. So when someone click on the button, we want to trigger a function. We just add the function here. In order to see that it's working, we can use log, console log, and then we just say clicked. So we open the console using this hamburger icon, and we click on the Open DevTools pane. So in the console section, now if we click on the button, we can see clicked each time we click. So we create a function here. We just say add new images. And the things this function does is add more images to our container. So in order to create an image element, we just need to use the create element method. So we just say new image, new img element. We just say document.create element, and the element we want to create is img, and the sources for the new the img, because the img has a source attribute. So the source will be, so we just say new image element dot src equal to, it would be the same source, but we want to change this to random number. So we copy this, we copy the first link and we put it here, but we put it inside a set of backtick. So we can do this number randomly. So instead of 1, we just create a variable using $sign and open a set of curly braces, and we just create a random number. We're using math.random, and the number, we want to create the number between, for example, 0 and 2000. So we multiply it to 2000. But this number is now actually because this is a random number between 0 and 1. So this number is not like a rounded. In order to create to round the number, we need to wrap this inside the math.floor. So in this case, the number would be between 0 and 2000. So now we create the image and we set this src. Now we can add it to inside the container. We just say container, image container element that we got here dot append child. So we're gonna append the child, which is this new image, and we write down new image here to append it as a child. So the things we do here when we click on the button, we call this function add new images. So now we have 3 images. When we click on the load more, we see one more image coming each time we click. In order to see more images, we can add, instead of adding only one image, we can put this one inside a loop, a for loop. So we just create a for loop. Let me do it again. So you just write for, and we click on for loop or auto suggestion. And now we have index, which is from 0, and it should be until the number of images we want. So we just say image number, and we set this image number before calling the function. We just say let image number to be, for example, 10. So in this case, we're going to create 10 images. And inside this, instead of this constant, we put our function. So we Ctrl X the function and we paste it here. So now each time we click on the load more, we get 10 more images. It's not working now. Let me check. The reason it's not working because we set this variable as a let, and this variable is not accessible outside this function. We just need to delete this let. Now when we click on the load more, we get 10 new images each time. So let's increase the number of images we have at the beginning to, for example, 6. So we just copy this 3 more times using Alt, Shift, and down arrow. One more time. We just change this to 4, 5, and 6. So let's open this in the browser using this hamburger sign and click on open in browser. So when the image is loaded, when the let me decrease the size. So when the page is loaded at the beginning, we have 6 images, and when we click on the load more, we can see each time more images are loading, and we never get a repetitive image because we are creating the random number between 0 and 2000. Actually, it's possible to get the repetitive image, but it's less likely. Yeah, that was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned new things. See you in the next project.